I'm honestly glad that you asked me that question because this is one of my favorite questions to answer, and it's not something that I can just, go spouting off to the world. But I'm so passionate about financial literacy that it it would almost scare you a little bit. And the biggest reason for that is because I've seen both sides of it, and I'll elaborate a little bit on that. So I grew up, what most people would call the upper class. My parents were fairly wealthy. They're both in the real estate game, and they did really well for themselves. And growing up, I never really knew what was going on. I just knew that I never had to hurt. I never had to, wonder about how we were going to pay for things. Like my parents just always gave me whatever I wanted, and everything was always taken care of, and above and beyond that. And about my senior year of high school, freshman year of college, they lost everything. And both my parents, like I said, were in the real estate game, and watching them lose everything was biggest lesson that I ever learned in my entire life. And I think they were embarrassed of it, but they shouldn't be. And the reason for that is because, I would say 95% of the people that I come across on a daily basis doing mortgages, people just don't understand money. Nobody talks about it. And I don't think it's necessarily their fault that anything happened, that they lost everything. I think it's more or less financial literacy, and that money's kind of taboo to talk about in households. And that's what I'm trying to change. And that's why I talk about financial literacy so much, is I'm trying to get people to talk about it, because I don't even think that it's parents don't want to talk about it as much as it is they don't really understand it. And I think that's the biggest problem. Let's take student loans, for example. You've seen that blow up on social media. Every, economics expert in the country is commenting on it. But regardless of what you think, regardless of your opinion, whether you think they should be forgiven, they're not, whatever that is, which by the way, they're not really forgiven. The money always comes from somewhere. But moral of the story is none of that's the problem. The biggest problem, there's two big problems there. Number one's accountability. And then number two is financial literacy. Most kids, their parents aren't going to let them take out a $60,000, $70,000 car loan when they're 18 years old. So why the hell are they letting them take out a $60,000, $70,000 student loan and not showing them the repercussions of it, how long it's going to take them to pay it off, what that actually means, how much they're going to pay in interest, to make sure that they're making the right decision. It's just like, hey, go take student loans and let's not talk about it for 10 years. And that's just really, really dangerous. And that's how we've gotten to this point of there being so much student loan debt out there. It's just that people don't understand when they're getting in it. And I don't even think it's the student loan company's faults, as it is to an extent. But I think if more parents taught their kids about financial literacy, or at least connected them with someone that could mentor them or guide them and teach them about those things, I think the world would be a lot different place.